スタジオ3万
Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Chester Pridecast, all things pride and beyond. This week we are joined by two of Chester's up-and-coming drag queens, where we will discuss drag, the final of Drag Race UK Season 4, and of course discussing your questions, stories and dilemmas.
Before we begin, we'd just like to say the following content may contain strong language and adult material that may not be suitable for all audiences, so your discretion is advised. Any views or advice expressed on this podcast are the views of Chester Pridecast and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Chester Pride.
Hey folks, we're back again. It's me, your host Wes.
I'm Carla.
And I'm TJ.
And we've still told you to
You keep asking me back. I don't know why.
No, we don't. I don't think so. And this week we're joined by two Chester-based young queens. Welcome to the podcast, Gretchen Winters.
Hi, nice to see you all. Well,
And Nikki,
not see you.
and Nikki Rush. Hello. How are we, ladies?
Positively divine, thank you very much.
Well, knackered.
Oh, well, no. If we're being real, then yes, I'm knackered.
It's been a long day, yeah.
Lady voice gone straight away. I'm knackered.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, well, today's episode is going to be talking drag, like I said in the introduction there, and obviously get to know Nikki and Gretchen a little better, so we'll just dive straight in. So am I right in assuming then, Nikki, that you're the drag daughter of Gretchen? How did you two meet?
Well.
And how did you start this family?
Well then, so the long and short of it is basically me and Gretchen met back in, what was it?
You're so long-winded. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Nikki met at a LGBT youth group in Chester called, what's it called?
Phoenix Youth Group, yes.
Oh, nice.
And I was just before doing my GCSEs, like we were both really
Oh my
young.
god, was that how long ago?
And yeah.
How young are you guys? What is going on?
I know I said young queens, but how young are we talking?
This was a while ago, right?
Well, at the time I was identifying as a trans female, so I came in full quiche, fully wigged, fully in heels and everything. And Nikki came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, like I love your makeup. I do makeup myself." And at the time, both of our makeup skills were quite questionable. And for a while, I thought your name was Jamie.
Oh my god, I've forgotten about
You had a fake Instagram name.
I'd rebranded myself as Jamie for I don't know what reason. And you honestly thought for, what was it, the first 6 months?
Yeah,
we knew each other?
Yeah.
To be called. I'm not called Jamie.
But we kept in touch after the youth group and we saw each other there a few times. And I think the first proper time we bonded was when you asked me if we wanted to go to RuPaul's Drag Con 2020.
Of course, yeah.
Wasn't that the first one?
First one.
And it was like terrible. I'm not saying that obviously the show was terrible, but it was kind of like TanaCon.
Oh, that's such a good way to do it. The Saturday at least.
We only went to one day, and that was the Sunday. So all of the craziness had passed us.
We'd escaped it.
But unfortunately, we did miss like the big red carpet runway for all the queens. But I mean, we got to meet a few other queens. We met the Vivian. We saw Mayhem Miller walk past a few times.
Oh, nice.
RuPaul was walking all over the place with a massive crowd. It was so funny. And also Trinity the Tuck.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. And we got signed prints from them. But at the time, Nikki's name was Hydrosa.
Yeah, again,
What?
I've had some questions.
Why have you had so many names?
I don't know. I was trying to discover myself.
Well, actually, this kind of ties it. So you've just said to us before the show that you're rebranding yourself. So obviously you're now Nikki Rush.
Yes.
So that's great in itself. I mean, as you're obviously a young queen yourself, what would you say tips are for baby queens wanting to spread their drag wings?
So basically, the best piece of advice I have is to form any kind of support network that you have with other queer individuals in your life. Because I know this for a fact. I would not be where I am today without this individual to my right, Gretchen, because I am pretty much an organised chaos disaster without this person.
So are you the organised one, and then you're the not organised one?
I don't know.
Our best comparison in the drag world is Trixie and Katya.
Wow.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely tell who's who.
I mean, yeah.
Not saying over. So yeah, surround yourself with LGBT individuals.
Of course, yeah. And again, back to square one, we met at a queer youth group, and I, at the time, I didn't know who I was. I had no queer friends. I'd had basically no, socializing with any other queer individuals. So I went to that youth group to find my crowd, pretty much. And it was through our mutual love of drag, actually, that got me and Gretchen talking, because you were, at the time, you were auditioning for season 1 of UK.
Oh, were you actually?
Oh,
my God, right.
You heard it here
At
first.
the time, I was 16 years old, and I thought I could do something. I don't know, I was 16 years old, and I thought, if I get my mum's permission, and if she comes with me, would they let me on the show? And I'd be like the youngest queen to be on Drag Race ever.
Oh. I'm sorry, that's not a concept. Oh, bless you.
But, obviously, everyone gets through to the next round of, doing the audition tape, but I couldn't, because it says in the contract that you have to be 18 years old because of things like the TV license, alcohol on the premises, language on the TV. But yeah, at the time I was auditioning for Drag Race season 1, and that's kind of what got us together, because you said, have you watched Drag Race? And I was like, yes.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Where can we find this audition tape? Because I really want to see
You
this.
still have it.
16-year-old you doing an audition tape.
No, I never got to the tape.
Gretchen
I never got to the tape because I was only 16.
And who would you have done for Snatch Game? Because I'm assuming that's something you need
In
to put
fact,
in.
that's a good question across the whole board.
Yeah. Okay, so Snatch Game.
Yeah.
What would everyone do?
Unfortunately, my Snatch Game character has already been taken as this most recent season of UK, but I wanted to do Pete Burns.
Right, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us a bit of
I am
that
not.
now?
Yeah. Oh, come on, you've got to now.
I will save that for in a minute or two.
Right, okay.
Who are you doing again? You had some great choices.
I've auditioned for Drag Race a few times now since I was underage.
Read the contract now.
Yes.
And basically, I've done 3, 4. How many characters have I done? I think 4 characters now, because I wanted to switch up between the 2 tapes. First, I did Joanna Lumley, and
Of course,
I remember
yeah.
that.
I did
Iconic.
and I did Sophie Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this next audition tape, I auditioned with David Needham, who's a famous choreographer in the musical theatre world. And who else was I going to do? Vanessa Shanessa Jenkins.
Vanessa
I don't know who that is.
Jenkins.
From Gavin and Stacey.
Oh,
It's
right,
Nessa.
yeah, okay. That's Nessa. Right, if you had said Nessa, I would have known then, yeah.
I'm
okay.
sorry, but from your physique, maybe.
Yeah, that's good.
I was going to make the joke that, since I've had the kid, I've lost a lot of weight.
And who would you do?
Andy Serkis.
Who's that?
Gollum.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Stop it.
That's absolutely fantastic.
I feel like I can do the convulsions a cat does.
The convulsions.
Yeah.
Are you known as the Lord of the Rings by the gays?
The game
You would know.
The Lord of the Lady.
That's how I like it.
We'll call you. Yeah.
We'll call you. What about you, Carla?
I don't know, I've never really thought about it.
Have you? Well, do you know what it is first of all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've established the basics.
Yeah, I watch Drag Race US a lot.
Oh, okay.
I just haven't really dipped my toes into the UK one.
Oh, the
Oh
UK
well,
was so
no, it's
much
just
better.
Snatch Game in general.
Yeah.
Who would you do as a famous
Don't know.
alter ego?
Don't know. I suppose Britney Spears or someone.
Oh, okay.
But because it's
Totally the opposite. Yeah.
me. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, that'd be cool. What
Yeah.
about you,
I
TJ?
have no idea.
Oh, come on, you can't ask the question
yes.
and then not know yourself.
conversation
I'd probably want to go for someone completely opposite to me, so someone high femme.
Yeah.
I think that would be. I mean, I'm not high femme, am I? Have you seen who I'm sat with? So I don't know who would be good for me. You guys can give me a character, and I'll practice it for the next episode.
What are you most familiar with TV wise?
Oh, I thought you were familiar with in general. Dicks and bummels, but
Well, there you go. Just be an arse.
I'm good at that. Clearly,
Just fart the whole way through.
maybe not that one.
Okay, well, leading on then to Drag Race. Obviously, by the time this airs, the finale would have been and gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
what do we think?
congratulations to the winner.
Yeah, whoever they may
If they're
be.
listening, because I'm sure they will.
Congratulations
Probably not,
to
but-
Cheddar Gorgeous, because she's going to win.
Oh, is that
okay,
so?
okay.
See, I've got a toss-up. I would love a double win with Danny Beard and Cheddar
I can
Gorgeous.
see it's going to be between them two.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
if it's just Jombers?
See, this is the thing, though.
You know what?
I mean, obviously, I'm never going to slate someone, but
No, I
I personally feel she thinks she's better than she is. I know that sounds controversial,
Oh.
but she's got no badges and...
It's not all about the badges, though.
No, I know it's not
all
about the badges, but it just feels like... what's the name from season 1 who basically coasted as well? Cheryl Hall, yeah.
Yes.
But at the same time, she's made it to top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's gone
but
through everybody else.
I just feel she's coasted away from it.
No.
And didn't Jan have no badges as well?
Yeah.
I got pretty far.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
marketed that.
Yeah,
Star, she made
100%.
roads. What she did.
And Scarlett Bobo from Canada season.
Yeah.
Oh my
No
god.
wins.
No one's.
But yeah, I think it's between them two. It's got to be Danny and Cheddar.
There's no way any of them are winning apart from Danny or Cheddar.
No.
To be honest. Not
Well,
to
it's,
like,
I mean, I've watched Drag. Is it Drag SOS? That's on Netflix
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Is it good? I haven't.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
so
good.
if you like Cheddar Gorgeous, go and watch Drag SOS because they kind of like go around the country. It's kind of like what the Fab Five do,
Yeah.
but with drag, basically. So yeah,
It's
really
quite
good.
emotional as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Some of the stories.
Well, there's one in particular, I think episode 1, where a dad whose son's gay, who's like quite gender fluid,
Yeah.
he's kind of trying to get in touch with his son, basically, and he thinks, well, this is a good way of doing it. In fact, I can't remember if it's him or his son that kind of put themselves forward for it, but yeah, like the whole journey of like, starting from day.drag in like a crappy little wig all the way up to the final show.
We're familiar.
Yeah. But going all the way to the final show, it is quite emotional because they go for like their nails together and he's
Yeah.
like, this isn't as bad as I thought kind of thing. He's like, and then the son was like, well, you've done this for me. I'll come to a football match with you. So it's kind of like give and take, isn't it? Though?
I watched that with my mum and she was crying the whole way through.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
so cute.
I do enjoy it. I wish they did more episodes though.
Is it cancelled?
No, I think they just
Cheddar
stopped.
Gorgeous has been cancelled.
It just finished.
Oh,
It's just finished.
it just came to its close.
Well, what do we think of the season so far?
I love it to bits, honestly. But
Yeah.
again, it's just in my personal opinion. I don't think anything will ever come close to UK2.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good one. I mean, obviously, I think season 1, hands down the best. But I think compared to the US one, because there's no big prize, there's no there's competition. There's no malice in it. There's no real
Yeah, they're
competition.
not
There's no
actually
grit.
competing, are they? 'Cause
Yeah.
all they're winning is just
A badge and
yeah.
like a show in the US, which is great because it does seem like you'll get the catty kind of the cattiness basically between them, but it's not malicious in any way.
Like
Whereas
British humour, it's just
exactly,
banter.
Yeah.
it is. It's
That's why I
banter.
asked you though, because I've only watched the US one. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, are they just rallying all the time? And you're like,
No.
it's
No.
totally opposite.
Yeah, like they get on. Like everyone basically gets on,
Yeah.
and then like when they bring them back, there's no malice between anyone really. But I think for this season, I think Dakota. I just gutted when she.
I
when
love
she was
Dakota.
gone.
Like episode 1 was like, no, they're going to go first. But then
Yeah.
after a while, I was like, oh my god, they're actually
Yeah,
They're
amazing. I
killing
loved
it.
it.
Yeah, it was so good.
That lip sync with that song from 6 when she
No
went
way.
away and then
Oh,
came back
yes.
around the corner. That was just
Yeah.
iconic.
Right.
Loved it. Well, I was going to ask you two, just going back to you guys. So obviously,
I'll guess the reason we're doing
Yes.
this.
so obviously people listening can't see you. So how would you describe your drag?
Ooh,
That's a
good question.
great
Yeah.
question.
Pain of it.
You're the professional.
Curveball for Gretchen.
Well, I've also been on in the process of a rebrand, kind
Style
of.
journey.
Yeah, I kind of fell off with my drag for a few months. Just didn't have any bookings. Didn't find any sort of like passion for it. Yeah, I don't know. I would say that since joining the community again, my style is sort of I'm like a classical queen, like a panto dame,
Okay.
but I'm young.
Yeah, like blonde
Yeah, I like
bombshell,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm really fit and I'm so young.
All right.
Wow.
but like I've got Oh, have I got comedy?
No.
I think that's funny in conversation.
Right,
No,
okay.
you are very good.
Yeah.
You're very genuinely you are. That sounds so ingenuine. God, I was like, you're so funny.
It's not classical
You're
drag.
You're
hilarious.
so funny.
I love
But
you.
no, you are absolutely fantastic, I will say. And you can absolutely entertain a room. I've seen you do it. And you just genuinely, you are very, very funny.
I try my best.
There's a lot of ass kissing going on here. Jeez.
She's my mother.
Yeah,
What
you-
do I
okay,
expect
right.
to get?
Exactly.
And what about you then?
I am early 2000s Y2K grunge. So
Okay.
I anybody listening,
Very Nikki
Sminty-
Rush.
Yeah, very Nikki Rush. But yeah, Sminty Drop and her drag family are just absolutely the embodiment of what I want to, at least look-wise, I want to come
Yeah.
across as. It's just almost like hyperpop.
Yeah.
Kind of. But yeah, it's very grungy, but think of it as polished grunge.
Polished grunge. Okay, that's a good way to
House of,
describe
yeah,
it.
House of Candle is just...
So like a polished turd then?
Well, yeah.
I would say it's like Bratz meets Super Mario Bros.
I actually kind of... No, I'm sorry, but I do love that.
I like that. It's like glamorous geek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Glamour
right, honestly,
geek.
because you have to have a sense of humour about
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
My name's Nikki Rush. I'm
Yeah.
not drag at its core. You cannot take yourself too seriously. Because,
Yeah.
you know, it's
And I think that's where a lot of queens fall down, especially on Drag Race, where they take themselves way too seriously. Like you get a lot of these beauty queens that, you know, as beautiful as they are, they take it so to heart. Like, what's her name from season 5 comes straight to mind.
Roxy.
Roxy, yeah.
Roxy,
Like
yeah.
way to the point where it's a hindrance on herself then.
So what advice would you give to queens that are all about the looks and need to just let it go and just need to, you know,
Shake
what,
it
not,
off.
yeah, not care? What would you say to someone?
Well, I think as someone that's like sort of worked in the industry, I've seen queens lose their passion. I've seen queens take it too seriously, and sometimes when you have nothing else to do, especially like nowadays, like there's it's like tight for jobs, tight for money, and drag is the only thing you can do. Sometimes you have no choice but to take it seriously because it's what you depend on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rely on it.
So I can see why, especially American queens, relying on tips
Yeah,
to
so-
survive.
Yeah.
That's why they can take it seriously. But like, you know, like RuPaul always says, like, look at us, we're
clowns.
clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Man in a dress, yeah.
It's just cross-dressing at the end of the day.
Yeah, just keep it, especially British, because
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's like where it stemmed from, basically,
Yeah.
for
Yes.
British drag.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so I'm gonna change it up a little bit. So we do have a lot of curious cats that have come in. So we haven't really specified it this time. We've just opened the floor.
Open conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So we can get another variety of conversation. So I'm going to hand it over to Carla. So take it away, Gail.
Okay, so the first question is, I'm a woman and I have a boyfriend, but I want to start exploring my sexuality more, but I don't know how to tell him. What should I do?
Threesome, because straight men always want to shag an
Well, I
extra
was thinking
person.
the same, yeah, I was thinking threesome.
Well, it's kind of just
to
open.
gauge, see how they feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get into the territory of like not telling your partner how you feel and things like that, because then it'll fester then.
Well, that's it. It's kind of like you want the open conversation. I can see how it can go two ways, but I think if you're like having a bit of fun, getting flirty, I think that's where maybe not mid-sex, but like the build-up, yeah. Like then maybe mention, just like throw ideas out. So, you know, it kind of like plants the seed.
But also, you don't want to end up making your boyfriend fetishizing lesbianism.
Well, no,
Yes.
yeah, no, I agree
True.
with that.
Yeah.
You're right.
I think another sort of moral place that you could take it is maybe ask him if you could take a break. Say it's nothing personal, but you just want to explore yourself a bit more. And then, you know, find friends. Like, you know, we were talking about starting drag, find a community of people and ask them about their experiences. And yeah, sort of educate yourself.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, I can see that. But from the man's point of view, that would sound like, oh, they don't want to be with me anymore. Especially if you're wanting to go to the same gender.
Yeah,
It's one-
women over me.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a break, but another thing to be like, I want to go with the same sex. So I think my personal advice, I'm not obviously negating yours, but I think my personal advice is to keep him so on side, so it does feel more involved. Because from what she's saying, she's not, she doesn't want to not be with him, but explore a bit more, and more's more.
More is more, yeah.
More is more.
And what other ones have you got?
Okay, so the second one is cheating wrong when you're young? So my first response to that is yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old you are. I think, of course, when you're young, I think people don't take relationships as seriously, so they may think it's okay. But yeah, in my opinion, I don't think it is, because it'll set a precedent to other relationships you might be in. You might be tempted to just cheat on that person as well, and then it causes like a sort of a toxic type relationship sort of style, I guess. But I feel as though also if you feel like you need to cheat on your partner, you should probably not be with your partner.
You're not as committed to that person.
So I think just be honest about how you feel before you do hurt someone else.
Yeah, I don't think age has really got anything to do with a moral compass.
No.
I mean, yeah, you can argue, a younger person doesn't fit, is still developing and learning all about that. But if that's the case and you're saying is cheating wrong at a young age, well, don't be in a relationship then, or be in an open relationship, or don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
If you're wanting fun, have fun.
If you're getting into the mindset that cheating's okay from a young age, then you're going to end up doing it in the future when you're older. So just don't do it at all. Yeah. And it's pretty easy, isn't it?
What are your thoughts?
I just think it's dead obvious. Again, age has nothing to do with morality and having a moral compass. Yes, it develops as you get older and you have more experiences and you learn more things. But, some things are obvious for a reason.
Yeah. If you're asking the question, you kind of already know the answer, in my opinion.
100%.
Okay, next question. I can't answer this one. But I'll ask this one to TJ.
Oh God, I dread to think.
It says, what if I shit myself during anal?
Right, just to point out, I didn't shit myself during anal. Somebody else shit on me. I'm not going to say that story again. It was in episode 2. So if you want to know that story, then listen to that. I mean, I would say take the opportunity of free lube and carry on. But obviously that's not for everyone.
Douche for a start.
Yeah, I think douche it for a start. And if you don't know how to Google it, maybe. I'm sure there's videos of how to do it. I'm not going to go around and show you. But yeah, personal hygiene.
Watch that on YouTube.
Personal hygiene. Just
watch our TikTok. TJ will give you a tutorial.
TJ's XXX TikTok. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, just stay clean. Douche. They're cheap online.
One thing I would say is when douching, if you're not used to it or you don't know how to do it yet, practice but not too often. Because it is unhygienic, it can be really bad for your insides.
Well, it can damage you if you're not doing it right.
You're taking all the bacteria out, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you're saying to just practice before.
Yeah, maybe once or twice a week. I'm not sure about the statistics.
Lukewarm water.
Yeah, not boiling water.
Or freezing cold water.
Don't boil your insides.
And then, just practice. Maybe if you're of a certain age, get a toy and practice.
Yeah.
Has it happened to you guys defecating on someone?
Wow, what a question to ask guests. Have you shit on someone?
Well, it's good to know, isn't it?
Not really.
I shared my stories, okay?
See, this is why you weren't invited back.
I know, I'm not invited back for the next one, am I? No.
That's it, 3 strikes, you're out.
What's the next one now?
Okay, so they put, I like having sex with girls but would never get in a relationship with a girl. What do you think?
I think it's quite similar to the other question, isn't it?
Similar,
really?
yeah.
Can I answer this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So, bringing it back to when me and Nikki were at the youth group, I remember one sort of lesson that we were taught while we were there is we were given a pamphlet with, it was like the gingerbread person of queer identity, and it was like gender identity, sexual identity, romantic attraction, and sexual attraction. So I was obviously talking about the difference between your biological sex and your gender identity, and then there was also a bit about romantic attraction and sexual attraction. So it's like a spectrum, it's a line. I'm sure everyone knows how it works.
Yeah.
And they are 2 separate spectrums, and I think sometimes you can feel sexual attractions towards someone of a certain gender, but not feel like you would be in a relationship with them. But, it's a different spectrum. If you're not romantically attracted to someone of that sex, then, that's completely fine, but you can still feel sexual attraction
I
towards
think it works the opposite way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people can be emotionally invested in someone for a while before they'd even consider sleeping with them.
Well, I think for me, when I first came out as bi, like obviously I was, well, not obviously, but I was romantically involved with girls first, and almost not fetishized, that's the wrong word because it's not, but like I seen men in a lustful way. So like I would, want to do stuff with them, but not necessarily be involved with them. And I think that kind of just grew over time. The more people I got to know and,
experiences.
Yeah, get more involved with my community. It kind of changed me in a person I wanted to be. And, that kind of developed into, okay, yeah, I could see myself having a boyfriend at some point. And obviously that led on to that because now I'm engaged to one.
I also think people might not want to get in a relationship with a girl, and obviously a man as well, for the same sex, because they're scared that makes it real and serious. So I think if you're young, just try your best to try and figure things out, and just don't do things too quickly.
So is this person just saying exclusively girls?
Yeah, so I like having sex with girls, but would never get in a relationship with a girl. So I think maybe then.
Or does this person have commitment issues? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because you could see it as if you compare it to people in open relationships. So they in a relationship with one person emotionally, but then sex is detached from that. So maybe they're the same. So the sex is nothing emotional. There's nothing there. So there's nothing wrong with it, surely. They could just carry on, just emotions aren't involved, it's just sex. Is that not?
No,
definitely.
You have the whole swinging scene, don't you? Where couples get in with other couples because it's like you're romantically involved with the person you're with.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with trying a bit of spice?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Any more?
Okay, and the last question, this is a tricky one really. It says, how do you define love?
That is a good one.
Yeah.
We'll hand it over to Gretchen first.
Oh, I mean, love. I don't know. Let me have a think. Can someone else take it? I'll give my opinion in a sec.
Oh God, eyes are on me now.
Well, there's a question. Have you ever been in love? You don't have to answer it, but have you been in a kind of love? Right, are we talking romantic love, firstly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as a
Yeah.
guest.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, because I've really only been in relationships with girls.
Really?
Yeah, shocking. But it's funny because my last relationship proper one was a couple of years ago, when it was with a girl, and I ended up realising that I was just romantically attracted to these people.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, because your sexual identity and who you're attracted to, it's ever changing.
Yeah.
It just, maybe for some people it doesn't change much and you still feel comfortable with the label that you have.
Certainly bisexuals as well.
Of course, yeah, because humans are so complex and complicated. It's ridiculous to bind everybody to a binary, but you can go up and down on a spectrum your whole life. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I've properly found love yet, which isn't a bad thing.
No, that's not a bad
at
thing.
all. And again, that's important to know. If you haven't found love, it's no bad.
But it's
thing.
good to
Yeah,
know
of
that
course.
you know that kind of separation. Like,
Of course.
I have an idea of what love is, and I know I haven't found that yet.
Yeah.
And that's just as plausible, well, justifiable as well.
Exactly.
And like you say, it happens at various ages, and people shouldn't feel pressure, because if you look on social media, you see all your friends in relationships, and you might feel like, you might be like, oh my god, why am I not feeling that? And they might fake it to make themselves look like that.
Yeah.
But there's no rush. You'll feel it at a certain time in your life, and that's up to you. That's just when it happens.
Well, in my experience, it's been when you're like flat out looking for it, that's when you find all the frogs, basically.
Yeah.
And as soon as you stop, it finds you. It's like if you're running 10 miles an hour and love's 5 miles behind you, you're not going to catch
What
up.
a lovely analogy.
I know, right?
That was really nice. Yeah.
Just stop and let it come to you, because it will literally happen when you least expect it.
Yeah.
I would say, when it comes to love, previously in my relationships, they've started out as crushes and then turned into obsessions. That sounds really creepy.
No, because that is how like some relationships start and inevitably end when you finish that kind of crush period. You're like, actually not really into that person.
Yeah.
Especially being a queer person that hasn't been exposed to much education or experience. Like, there's lots of different things that sort of led me to feel different emotions, and obviously during a relationship you're not sure whether it is love or not. That's when you go through that rocky stage. But one example is I had this crush on one person in my boarding house when I was in lower school, like doing GCSEs and stuff, and he said that he had a crush, and we were like, oh, who is it, because we're in a boarding house, and he was like, oh, it's no one you know. But and then everyone was asking me who my crush was, and I was like, it's this person. And then it kind of got out, and then he came to me and told me that I was actually his crush too. And that was really sweet.
Living that hot stuff life.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds very Heartstopper, doesn't it?
Except we were both flamingly queer. And I don't know, it started at we dated for a month, and then we broke up because it was he was doing his GCSEs and I was just sort of loving the attention.
Yeah.
And, we hadn't had the opportunity to do anything more than just sort of hold hands and kiss. But, when we broke up, I felt lost. And, I just felt like I was obsessed with him. And everything he was doing, I was constantly checking, his Instagram and, who else he's been hanging out with. And I turned into that, stereotype psycho ex.
Yeah.
And I think that's, a thing that people associate with love,
especially in our community. I find that when, and I can only really speak from my perspective, when men are looking for it, you kind of look in kind of the wrong places as well, because the only place you'll shallowly look is Grindr or on a night out, and some places that's where you can find it's so rare, in my opinion, that can stick. And again, I think it just comes down to just let it happen when it happens, if it happens.
Yeah.
So how did you and your other half, Rob, meet?
I already said this in another podcast.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, this is me just not listening.
I am not going through that family tree of exes.
Oh, yes, I remember now.
Yeah, no.
The cuboid.
Yeah, it was a cuboid, and I was at the centre of it, but you know what, it's fine.
Well, yeah, Carla, what about yourself?
I think how I used to define love's a lot different to how I define it now.
Yeah.
Just basically because I've been in a relationship for a long time, so it kind of seems different.
In what way?
In the sense of it's more permanent.
Yeah.
I think when I used to think that I was in love with a certain person, there was no permanence to it, if that makes sense. So you any minute now they could just split up with me, or I could just decide
God, that
to
must
split
be
up
so
with them.
anxious.
Yeah.
But that's what happens to a lot of young people.
Yeah.
It's they feel like they're obsessed with their other half, but it doesn't seem permanent.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time it's I don't know, sort of situation based. If
Yeah.
you're in school, if they're in the same year as you,
Yeah.
and then as soon as those elements disappear, it's oh.
It's your whole relationship was structured around this.
Yeah, exactly.
How's it gonna go?
So how I define love now is in a soppy way, I guess, but it's completely unconditional.
Yeah.
And it's permanent. There's a permanence to it, and then there's a safety surrounding that permanence.
Yeah.
Which is my sort of definition, I guess.
No, I kind of agree with that. For me, I think, I've discussed it before, kind of me and my partner dated for 9 months before we even made it official, because one, I didn't want him to feel the rebound, but I was just kind of look, I'm not looking for anything right now. And it just kind of developed. And now it's he's literally my best friend. Yeah. He's my best friend before he's my partner. And
that's important, I think.
that is
Very
the
important.
most important thing, I think, as well. Because, when he's in trouble, it's literally I'll look straight out for him like that. It's not even a question, really. Should I be with this person because they're, going through something? Well, no. you know, you got to take the bad with the good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, you got to go through the bad to deserve the good, in my opinion.
Mm.
But yeah,
And I think we've all been through a bit of bad.
yeah.
Some more than
I mean,
others.
if your relationship survived COVID, there's a great test straight
Yeah,
away.
that is true. That is true.
Well, I'm just going to take it away from the Curious Cats now. So thank you very much, Carla. And we've got one news segment that I wanted to touch on. I think it's very important, obviously topical at the moment. So Chester Pride's very own director, Sandra and Richard, made an appearance on ITV News and local tabloids boycotting the World Cup in venues across the city. In particular, the Liverpool Arms, saying after prolonged soul searching, the Liverpool Arms has decided it will not be showing any matches from the FIFA World Cup 2022, hosted by Qatar. As Chester's LGBT plus bar, we are deeply concerned about the host nation's lack of LGBT plus rights, which are all well very documented. We will not be promoting this event. However, we wish England and Wales every success in the tournament. I mean, I think it deserves a round of applause. I mean, just to hear that, I mean, especially across the whole of the city, there's venues that are, you know, following suit.
Yeah.
It is reassuring and comforting to know that, you know, there are venues such as this that recognise it straight away. And from what I've seen, there's been no real bad, like, comments on it. It's been really good.
You can't really say a bad comment about it, can
Well,
you?
that's it. It's because there's been so much in the press about it, but I think as soon as they mentioned that no alcohol can be served, that kind of just took the lead straight away. Then
100%, because they all want to drink, don't they?
Yeah. Well, it's like today I was in work and it's obviously on the tellies, and I seen a TikTok last night and it was that there's very little, if any, women in the audiences of these football matches. And I couldn't help but notice that they were, focusing in on women all throughout the whole of the England football game.
Because women in that country aren't allowed to go out on their own. They have to be with their husband. So there's going to be no women. And all this just blows my mind that people are still watching it or getting involved with it. Celebrities that are actively getting involved in it.
Well, like David Beckham in the whole Joe Lycett situation.
Yeah, because he's shredded £10,000.
He shredded £10,000, yeah.
He's just fantastic, isn't he?
Well, he puts his money where his mouth is, literally, doesn't he?
I don't know if it's been seen today, but he's basically revealed that before he even posted his initial video about basically the threat of shredding money.
Yeah.
He's donated that money to a queer charity and didn't actually shred the money.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. He's basically, the video of him shredding it's got Photoshop, so he dropped the money, the real money, into the shredder, but it wasn't on, and then he's photoshopped it coming out.
Right.
So he's basically, in the video, I urge you to go and watch it, and anybody listening as well, but basically he said, I knew that you weren't going to do it, addressing David Beckham. I knew you weren't going to,
Well, it's £10 million, isn't it?
£10 million over 10 grand.
Yeah.
To these people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is,
But does he need 10 million?
Well, that's it.
I don't think he does.
But when you get to be that rich, it's just more about greed. Because you've got oil companies now profiting, literally billions. It's more than you could ever spend in a lifetime for one person. Yet
plus he's with Victoria Beckham as well.
Exactly. But yeah, it's obviously just absolutely ridiculous. But, it's all you can do is keep spreading information and awareness and,
Well, that's it.
That's the thing. A lot of people haven't heard of the country of Qatar in general. So I think once you actually educate people and let them know what actually is going on, and certain topics that do affect them, like with the drinking thing.
Yeah.
So they may not have thought certain elements that we understand to be bad. They may not think that are that bad. It doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you include other elements, like basic human rights isn't the same.
And human rights should be more important than alcohol at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's just it's just spreading awareness, but not just in the LGBT sort of scope of things, but in just the general human rights scope that affects everyone.
Well, I'm hoping this does kind of shed a light on these kind of countries that, that have no LGBT/human rights.
Yeah.
So
it is nice the captain of the England team's wearing a rainbow band, isn't he?
yeah.
Don't know how that's going to go down, but he says that he's going to do that.
Have you seen it?
No.
Basically, in England and Wales have pulled out. They're not wearing their
They're not doing it now.
because FIFA's basically. I don't know. I don't want to say specific details in case I've misread it, but it got released today. Basically, FIFA's had a go at them for it. So I know England and Wales aren't doing it, but I don't know about the specific captain. Maybe he's still doing it, but England and Wales are no longer wearing it.
But this is it. It's like it opens up that conversation. It's like politicians saying, you've kind of got to respect FIFA and the country that you're going to. Well, no, not when they don't.
But they only got it in their country by bribery.
Yeah,
so why have we got
by
to respect
money?
it? Yeah. So no.
It's like my partners, because we've been talking about this a lot. It's like to qualify, you should have set qualifications to even be considered.
Yeah.
Let alone just throw money at it.
Again, because again, this hardly compares to what we're talking about at the minute with human rights, but it's 50 degrees out there.
Well, this is it. I've seen
football.
Yeah, I've seen videos of the footballers having to stand in front of these big fans.
Yeah.
Because just from training, let alone doing a 90-minute football match.
Yeah, some players can't even train at the minute because they will get heat stroke.
Although the weather in the UK at the moment, I'd give anything to be doing that.
Well,
You want to go and play football?
I mean, by all means, go to guitar. But no, it's like, I know in Dubai, for example, they don't sell alcohol in public places, so it would be like a hotel that you'd need to buy it. And so I've seen like some of the reports, and some of the hotels are charging like $80 or £80 for a pint.
Oh my god.
On top of like the shed kind of accommodations that you have for like, it's like £2,000 a night or something for a shed. It's ridiculous. So you can keep your football, you can keep your World Cup, you can shove it up your ass for all
Well
I care.
said, Wesley, well said.
Well, on that, I think we'll wrap it up there. I would just like to say we'll put your socials, Gretchen and Nikki, on ours. So if you do get an opportunity to go and see them in a show, shout out that you know where you've seen them from. But yeah, we'll leave it there. So thank you very much.
thank you for having us.
No worries. We'll have to have you back on some other time.
No, we're not.
Yeah, your band. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Don't forget, you can reach out to us or send in your dilemmas via email, pridecast@chesterpride.co.uk. You can drop us a DM on Twitter @ch1pride or send us your messages anonymously via our Curious Cat found on our Twitter. Chester Pridecast is produced by Studio 30,000.